Hi, I'm Neil Carpenter with Minimus. I wanted to take a few minutes today to talk about our support for VEX, which is an intriguing acronym, and give you an idea of what you can do with it and where you'll find it. So VEX would allow you, if you are scanning Minimus with a scanner that maybe is your own scanner, it's something that does not yet support Minimus images, it enables you to get accurate reflections of whether a particular vulnerability affects a Minimus image or not. And so let's dive first into what VEX is and why it was built and where we would find it in the wild, and then look at how it impacts Minimus in particular. So VEX is a way for vendors to tell consumers whether or not a particular vulnerability affects their code and their application. Now, this might not seem like a huge problem, but it turns out that it is. So what happens, and I'm going to use Golang as an example, although this can affect really any vulnerability, any language that affects any application or any service out there. But Golang is a great example. So in Golang, you typically statically compile your binaries, which means all the various modules, all the various pieces of Go that you're using are all included in the binary that you build and you ship to your customers. And so what happens is when a scanner finds a module in there that has a vulnerability, it says, hey, this Golang binary has this vulnerability. And as a vendor, what happens is this generates a lot of support impact. You have a lot of your customers who are scanning your deployed code wherever it's running, finding this vulnerability, calling you up, opening support tickets, and taking up time. And you have to go, hey, actually, you know what? We're not affected by that because we didn't implement it in this way, or we did this, which makes it not apply, or we don't use that code. But whatever the answer is, you spend a lot of time writing a blog, putting it out there. Hopefully your customers find it. A lot of them still open tickets, and you spend a lot of time going back and forth on it. And on the security team on the customer side, that's very annoying as well because you have what might be a critical, a high severity vulnerability you found in a vendor app, and you go through all this back and forth only to find out it's not important, it doesn't apply. And so VEX is a way of automating that. VEX is a machine-readable, machine-consumable format where a vendor can say, hey, we're aware our application, if you scan it, you're going to find this vulnerability. And we want to tell you what we know about it. And there are four statuses. You can say you're affected, which means this is important, we haven't fixed it yet. You can say you're unaffected, which means, hey, we're going to tell you why this vulnerability doesn't actually apply to us. You can say you've already fixed it. Hey, you've got version 1.2, you need version 1.3, or you can indicate that it's under investigation. We're looking, we are not sure yet if we're affected. And because this is machine consumable, whatever your scanner is, you can pull the VEX in on the customer side. Your security team can consume this and say, oh, okay, this application does in fact have this piece of code which has this vulnerability, but it doesn't apply for these reasons. We don't have to open a support case. We don't have to go any further on this. This is new. It's only been around a year and a half, 2 years, a fairly short time. We're still figuring out how to consume it, but it's incredibly valuable for those scenarios. So you might reasonably be asking now, but Neil, how does this apply to Minimus? Why I'm already using Trivia, I'm using Gripe, I'm using a scanner that scans Minimus images and has all of the right vulnerability details I can tell. And that is perfectly okay. That's where we want to be. But if you've built your own scanner, if you're using something that doesn't yet support Minimus images, you might scan a Minimus image and come up with a vulnerability that it turns out doesn't apply for some reason. And that's annoying. So Minimus supports VEX to allow you to use the scanner of your choice, but still import our VEX, our statement of what is and is not applicable and why it is and is not applicable, so that you can automate this and get the right results no matter what. If you like your scanner today, you can continue to use your scanner, to paraphrase a fairly famous saying. And so let me show you what that looks like in Minimus itself. So we're looking at the Minimus console. Here's a bunch of images. Not all of our images have vulnerabilities in them, but some certainly do. New vulnerabilities for which there's not a fix available. And so if we look at one of those, and let me use the OpenJDK image as an example. And I'm going to use the latest version, 24.0.2. And if I look, I'll see there are, in fact, 2 vulnerabilities in here. And so I can download the VEX if I need it directly from here to use scanning this image to provide the right results. And to show you a little bit under the hood, we give you access to all of the information that we use, all of what we call advisories, every vulnerability we're aware of in every component that we use in all of our images. And so if you're doing some research, if you want to look, you would see we have a few more statuses. All of these statuses map into those 4 VEX statuses. But for example, if I look at unaffected, this would show me what I would see in VEX data as well. So for example, if I look at this Redis vulnerability, I can see we are unaffected, and we are unaffected because this is specific to Debian and it doesn't affect us. So this is the same data that would be available to a security team consuming our VEX documents and using them for scanning. So thank you so much for the time. Have a great day.